The sheriff leads the robbers into a fierce battle against the police. Following Better Call Saul and Nobody, Bob once again portrays a highly contrasting, slick sheriff, taking the character archetype of a middle-aged man enduring in secrecy before suddenly turning ruthless in a desperate situation to a whole new height. Ulysses is a failed middle-aged man whose marriage is a disaster, leaving him and his wife living as complete strangers. He has no grand ambitions and has no desire to fight for fame or fortune, as his sole wish is to find a place where nobody knows him, to stay quietly for a while, lick his wounds, and coast along until retirement. Soon enough, an opportunity presents itself. In a remote town in Minnesota named Normal, the former sheriff suddenly dies in an accident, leaving the town in desperate need of a temporary replacement sheriff for a term of exactly 2 months. The town of Normal sounds exactly like its name, a remote, desolate, sparsely populated little place with honest locals that cannot even be found on a map, perfectly matching all of Ulysses's requirements. Without a shred of hesitation, he takes the job immediately, but he soon discovers that the seemingly ordinary and peaceful name of Normal turns out to be the ultimate irony instead. When Ulysses first arrives in the town to take over as the acting sheriff, everything around him appears completely peaceful and serene. During his spare time, he looks at the photograph of the former sheriff, Gunderson, in his office with growing suspicion, unable to resist investigating the truth behind Gunderson's death. Leafing through the official death report, he finds absolutely no detailed record of the cause of death, featuring nothing but a sloppy signature from a local town doctor. As Ulysses stores a firearm left behind in a drawer into the police armory, he unexpectedly discovers that the amount of ammunition stockpiled here is incredibly staggering, even enough to support a small-scale war, with military-grade C4 explosives readily available as well. The female secretary, Sally, explains to him that ever since the September 11th attacks, the former Sheriff Gunderson took the opportunity to apply for every available anti-terrorism special grant, which is how he amassed such an abundant supply of military hardware. This small town radiates weirdness and abnormality at every turn, but as a newcomer, Ulysses is unwilling to rashly break the local established order, wishing only to try blending into their unique rhythm of life. One day, he slaps a ticket on an illegally parked vehicle, prompting the female owner to step out of a roadside shop intending to pick a fight, only to see a gentle note on the ticket reading, "Remember to park properly next time." The female driver highly appreciates his easygoing style of law enforcement. In the days that follow, Ulysses's daily work consists of nothing more than handling trivial, petty matters like neighborhood disputes and merchant squabbles. At the memorial service for the former Sheriff Gunderson, Ulysses deliberately tracks down Dr. Villy, the town physician who signed the death report, to ask him face-to-face about Gunderson's true cause of death. Villy vaguely discloses that when Gunderson was found, he was lying naked in the snow and died from freezing, with a fishing rod still tightly clutched in his hand. Not long after, the mayor approaches him on his own initiative to strike up a conversation, tentatively asking Ulysses about his impressions of this small town. The mayor bluntly states that he reads right through his easygoing, detached personality that dislikes poking into other people's business, asking if he is willing to abandon the idea of a short-term stint to settle down here permanently as the full-time sheriff, claiming that the town of Normal has honest folks, united neighbors, and mutual helpfulness, making it a perfect place to start a brand new chapter in life. Upon hearing this, Ulysses merely states that he needs to give it some proper thought. Soon afterward, he hears an argument coming from outside, where he spots a young girl getting into a heated conflict with Deputy Blaine, before she furiously screams insults and drives away in a huff. Ulysses learns from his colleague Mike that this girl is none other than Gunderson's daughter, Alex. The fact that she is publicly driven away at her own father's memorial service makes the entire situation feel incredibly suspicious and bizarre at every turn. Yet at first, Ulysses still makes up his mind to play it safe to protect himself, unwilling to meddle too deeply in the hidden entanglements of the town. As night falls, Ulysses goes to the town bar alone to unwind, where he encounters the bar owner, Moira, and takes the opportunity to fish for information about Gunderson's past life. Moira also offers nothing but a casual guess, assuming that Gunderson most likely went out late at night while intoxicated and accidentally froze to death in the snow. During their chat, Ulysses also opens up about his own trauma and past. While working a case years ago, he accidentally unalived an innocent girl, leaving his heart carrying a heavy burden of guilt, which is exactly why he resolved to flee his familiar surroundings and come to this remote town where nobody knows him, in an attempt to escape his inner torment. The following morning, Ulysses happens to come across a strange woman throwing a massive temper tantrum at a vending machine, so he kindly steps forward to help defuse the situation, completely failing to notice a handgun concealed around her waist. On his way home from work that evening, Ulysses notices a car parked by the roadside, inside of which sits Alex, looking completely dazed and clearly heavily intoxicated. Instead of directly arresting Alex for driving under the influence, he slides into the car to offer patient guidance, only to realize that Alex is clutching a handgun, having clearly developed an extreme intention. Alex confesses that her father did not die in an accident at all, but was actually driven to his death, step by step, by the mayor, except she does not possess a single shred of evidence. Worrying that she might do something foolish on an impulse, Ulysses brings her back to the police station holding cell to stay for the night, temporarily keeping her emotions stable. The following day, while the station officers are chatting and resting, a sudden alarm abruptly pierces through the silence. Only then does everyone learn that the town bank is being robbed. The peaceful town of Normal has never experienced a vicious crime like a bank robbery before, catching absolutely everyone completely off guard in an instant. Ulysses immediately leads Blaine and Mike to rush to the scene at top speed, while instructing Sally to urgently call for outside law enforcement backup. The robbers pulling off the heist are none other than Lori, whom Ulysses crossed paths with the other day, and her boyfriend Keith. After storming into the bank and ransacking the counters, they discover to their utter embarrassment that with mobile payments fully popularized nowadays, the bank holds a mere $2,000 in cash. Keith, unwilling to call it quits just like that, forces the bank manager to open the vault. Amidst the chaos, a hostage suffers a sudden heart attack, forcing them to temporarily put aside their thoughts of robbery in a panic to start saving the person's life. Right at that moment, a security guard inside the bank quietly presses a sequence of numbers on his phone, and the line connects not to the local police department, but to a Japanese Yakuza criminal syndicate far across the ocean. Immediately following that, the guard suddenly draws a dagger to launch a sneak attack, stabbing Keith and instantly triggering total bedlam on the scene. At this time, Ulysses and his two colleagues arrive outside the bank door under a raging blizzard. Just as Blaine and the others are sorting out their gear to prepare for action, Ulysses spots a puppy inside a roadside vehicle, instantly recognizing the identity of the robbers and planning to step forward alone to negotiate and defuse the situation. But the moment he reaches the bank entrance, Blaine, behind him, unexpectedly raises his gun and fires directly at him. Fortunately, his bulletproof vest protects his vital organs, allowing Ulysses to narrowly escape with his life. He immediately spins around to return fire, accurately blasting off Blaine's left ear with a single, precise shot. The two robbers inside the bank are instantly stupefied, completely unable to comprehend why the police are opening fire on each other within their own ranks. Seeing Blaine injured, Mike on the side raises his weapon and opens fire frantically into the interior of the bank. The chaotic mess before his eyes leaves Ulysses completely baffled, prompting him to instantly use his gun to force the truth out of the bank manager. Left with no choice, the manager has to lead everyone toward the vault. Only then do they discover that an enormous amount of gold and cash is stockpiled inside the vault. Along the way, the bank manager suddenly turns and flees, running all the way back to his office, where he accidentally discharges his gun while frantically pulling it from a drawer, ending his own life on the spot. Meanwhile, the stabbed Keith is in desperate need of medical treatment. Meanwhile, the mayor leads a massive crowd of armed townspeople to surround the bank in layers, arrogantly declaring that all 1,800 residents of the town of Normal take orders exclusively from him. The truth slowly unravels from there, revealing that countless remote towns, forgotten by the outside world like Normal, are scattered across the United States, facing nothing but being picked clean by banks and capitalists, until the Japanese Yakuza entered the picture. They rake in massive amounts of wealth within the country, and since large sums of gray money cannot be legally transferred, they use the banks in these remote towns to secretly store and conceal it on their behalf. The mayor does not intend to wipe them out completely, even deliberately offering Ulysses a way out by stating that the two robbers are not locals. So as long as Ulysses steps up to get rid of them, he can join their faction as a declaration of loyalty, ensuring he will sit on endless wealth and prosperity for the rest of his days. Faced with such an enticing temptation, Ulysses rejects any compromise without a single shred of hesitation. Ulysses and his group also discover that, besides piles of gold, a massive stash of military weaponry is hidden inside the vault. Just as the mayor is completely infuriated, Ulysses directly uses a grenade launcher to blow the mayor into oblivion with a single blast, subsequently choosing to form an alliance with the robbers Laurie and Keith to launch a powerful breakout, beating the surrounding officers and town forces into a total rout. A local town resident gets terrified and tries to run away, only to be shot dead in public by that very bank security guard. This seemingly ordinary guard turns out to be the true mastermind managing the town behind the scenes. Upon learning that his piggy bank for concealing wealth has been raided, the Yakuza boss, far away at headquarters, can no longer sit still, immediately assembling a massive squad of men to rush down to the town of Normal, Minnesota at top speed. After breaking through, Ulysses and his group temporarily hide inside a yarn shop, and that shop owner, Mary, who routinely bickers with customers over colorblindness issues on regular days, shockingly turns out to be a member of the enemy faction as well. Following a round of intense and chaotic fighting, taking advantage of the window while Mary is reloading her ammunition, Ulysses shoots Laurie a knowing look, who catches on instantly and lunges forward furiously to unalive Mary with a dagger.
Sorry, lady.
With the blizzard outside raging more and more fiercely, their only way of escape right now is to risk a trip to the police station and drive away the town's only snowplow. But the moment they step out of the shop door, a dense hail of bullets comes strafing right at them, forcing them to take refuge inside a roadside hardware store to temporarily avoid the brunt of the attack. Yet the owner of the hardware store is also one of the mayor's men, holding a crowbar as he suddenly charges at Ulysses.
You're a slippery little...
Ulysses gets knocked to the floor, asking the man for his reasons with total bewilderment in his heart. The shop owner speaks the truth, revealing that they long since investigated Ulysses' past and specifically selected him to serve as the acting sheriff precisely because they favored his reputation for not sticking his nose into other people's business, never expecting that he would now break the town rules and insist on standing up. With that, the owner swings an axe directly at Ulysses, who catches it by a hair in a thrilling sidestep, using his countermove to grab an iron nail and blind one of the owner's eyes. Enduring the agonizing pain, the injured shop owner tries to open a storage locker, but the exact moment he unlocks it, Ulysses unalives him on the spot, and inside the cabinet hides a box completely packed with dynamite detonators. Soon, a massive wave of pursuers arrives one after another, and Ulysses lights the detonators to toss them in succession, instantly blowing the pursuers to pieces with heavy casualties.
What are you doing, Mike?
Laurie and Keith reach the police station ahead of him, and just as they are figuring out how to start up the snowplow, Sally suddenly shows up, wielding a shotgun to intercept them. At the critical moment, Ulysses arrives just in time, and during the physical struggle between the parties, Sally accidentally loses her footing and falls, getting run over on the spot by a parked cruiser nearby. Ulysses walks into the police armory to arm himself to the teeth, getting ready to face the upcoming ultimate showdown. Little did he expect that the bar owner, Moira, would suddenly launch a sneak attack on him from the shadows. In a detached tone, Moira mockingly remarks that compared to the former sheriff, Ulysses' upcoming end can already be considered easy. She also finally spills the truth, stating that because his daughter returned from the military, the former Sheriff Gunderson was no longer willing to collaborate in their dirty work by guarding the syndicate's secrets, adamantly insisting on leaving the town. In order to protect the town's secrets, the mayor instructed Moira to spike Gunderson's drink, dragging his unconscious body out into the snow to freeze to death, creating the illusion of an accidental demise. What Moira never imagines in her wildest dreams is that Gunderson's daughter, Alex, happens to be locked up in the adjacent room, decisively opening fire through the bars to gun down Moira and avenge her father. Right at this moment, the rest of the officers and town residents arrive en masse at the police station, and upon seeing the garage door open, they open fire frantically in a massive barrage. Driving a modified bulletproof vehicle, Alex storms out, running straight over that complicit doctor before speeding off in the direction of the bank. The crowd suddenly realizes a fatal oversight. The vault door of the bank remains wide open to this day, completely unclosed. Alex drives her vehicle straight into the bank, swiftly rigging C4 explosives inside the vault, fully prepared to perish together with everyone else. Ulysses then steps forward to negotiate with the crowd surrounding the station, proposing to drop all grudges and disguise the bank robbery as an accidental car crash, teaming up to deceive the incoming Yakuza syndicate. As long as they manage to bluff their way through, everyone in town can maintain their original order of life. Otherwise, he will detonate the explosives to destroy all the wealth inside the vault, leaving absolutely no one safe from the syndicate's relentless pursuit and retribution. Weighing the pros and cons, both sides reach a consensus, and everyone hurries through the night to clean up the signs on the scene, covering up all traces of the fighting and bloodshed. The next day, in order to buy time and keep the syndicate calm, Ulysses and Blaine drive halfway out to meet the Yakuza members, deliberately leading the caravan on a detour to delay their arrival. By the time the group arrives at the town bank, every single trace of combat on the scene has long been scrubbed clean, and the gold and assets inside the vault remain completely intact. Only then does the Yakuza boss let down his guard. To entertain this criminal syndicate, everyone specifically prepares a sumptuous dinner at the bar, creating an atmosphere of harmonious joy. Yet just as everyone raises their glasses to toast the Yakuza leader, an accident suddenly occurs. A popping champagne cork accidentally strikes a shotgun displayed on the wall, causing the firearm to unexpectedly misfire and gun down the syndicate chief on the spot. Now things go completely sideways, as an unavoidable close-quarters gun battle erupts in an instant. Total chaos and slaughter consume the bar with countless casualties on both sides, while Ulysses engages in a life-and-death duel against that security guard inside the kitchen. Following the fierce melee, the bar is littered with corpses everywhere, leaving only Alex, the injured Blaine, and Ulysses as the three survivors, who sit peacefully inside the shop eating pie. Ulysses turns his head to ask Blaine if he is willing to take over the position of the town sheriff, subsequently handing the sheriff's badge right into Blaine's hands. A month later, Ulysses and Alex already leave this trouble-ridden place behind, heading to warm Texas to serve as a sheriff once again and kick off a brand new life. Meanwhile, the town of Normal continues to carry on its old rules, persisting in storing gray wealth for the overseas syndicate. The entire film consistently maintains a classic, hardcore action narrative style. As a detached, middle-aged outsider, Ulysses unintentionally gets dragged into the town's black money conspiracy, getting pushed step by step into the eye of the storm until he has no choice but to force a brutal fight back after being cornered. Bob flawlessly captures the contrasting aura of the character, someone who hates looking for trouble yet possesses a kind heart, and who dislikes harming his neighbors yet acts with lethal decisiveness at critical moments, portraying the middle-aged man's endurance and ruthlessness to absolute perfection. As for this town where everyone seemingly packs heat, most of the residents possess weapons in vain without a shred of actual combat capability, ultimately resulting in a ridiculous yet tragic free-for-all brawl. Thank you all for watching, and see you guys in the next video.